You've been doing everything right. You saved your money. You found a high-yield savings account paying a solid rate. You patted yourself on the back and moved on. And honestly, compared to most people, you are ahead. But here's the uncomfortable truth that the financial industry hopes you never figure out. You're still losing. Not as badly as before, but you're still on the wrong side of a trade that your bank has been running on you for decades. Let me show you exactly what's happening and what to do instead. Before we go any further, quick reality check. If you're the kind of person who actually enjoys understanding where your money is going and not just hoping it behaves, you're going to want to stick around this channel. Because this is exactly the kind of thing we break down here. No fluff, no just work harder advice, just real numbers and what they actually mean for your life. So if you've ever looked at your bank app and thought, this feels off, but I don't know why, you're in the right place. Hit subscribe because once you start seeing how the system really works, it's kind of impossible to unsee it. Picture two people. One of them keeps $20,000 in a regular savings account at a big national bank. She checks her balance every month, sees a small interest deposit, and feels responsible. She earned about $76 over the course of a full year. Meanwhile, her bank took that same $20,000 and put it to work. They lent it out to credit card holders, car buyers, mortgage applicants. They bought government securities. They ran it through their profit machine. The net interest margin for U.S. banks right now is sitting at around 3.39%, the highest it has been since 2019. On her $20,000, her bank pocketed roughly $600 in spread alone. She got $76, they kept $600, and she thought she was earning interest. Now the second person heard about this. He did the research, switched to a high-yield savings account, and started earning 4.5%. On $20,000, that is around $900 a year. Way better. Nearly 12 times what she was earning. He thought he had cracked the code. He hadn't. He just got a slightly better seat on the same train. Here is what nobody tells you about your high-yield savings account. The bank offering you 4.5% is doing the exact same thing with your money. They are lending it to borrowers, buying Treasury securities, running the same playbook. The only difference is they are sharing a marginally bigger slice of the profit with you. They are still the middleman. They are still taking their cut. You just negotiated a slightly better deal with the middleman instead of eliminating them entirely. And there are three specific problems with that 4.5% that you need to understand right now. Problem one, that rate is not guaranteed. It is an advertised rate that your bank can change tomorrow without meaningful consequences. Some accounts use promotional periods where the high rate only lasts 90 days before quietly dropping. Others have tiered structures where the top rate applies only to the first few $100s. The advertised number and your actual effective yield are often very different things. Problem two, every dollar of interest you earn in a savings account, whether it is a regular account or a high-yield account, is taxed as ordinary income at the federal level and also at your state and local level. If you are in a combined federal and state tax bracket of around 27%, that $900 becomes closer to $657 after taxes. The headline rate and your after-tax yield are not the same number. Problem three, and this is the one that really matters. Your bank takes your deposits and buys short-term U.S. Treasury bills. Right now, 3-month Treasury bills are yielding around 3.5 to 4%. The bank buys those treasuries with your money, earns that yield, and then pays you 4.5%, in some cases, keeping the rest as spread. But here is the thing. You can buy those same Treasury bills yourself. You can cut the bank out completely. So why are you paying a middleman to do something you can do directly? Let's talk about what that actually looks like in practice, because this is simpler than most people think. The first option is a short-term Treasury bill, ETF, something like SGOV, which is a widely used fund that invests exclusively in Treasury bills maturing within 3 months. You buy it through any brokerage account you already have. You buy it like a stock. Every month you receive a dividend, and that dividend is your interest income. The trailing 12-month yield as of April 2026 is around 3.95%, with a current 30-day yield closer to 3.55%. The expense ratio is just 0.09% annually. On $20,000, that fee is about $18 a year. And here is the detail that changes the tax math entirely. Interest from U.S. Treasury securities is exempt from state and local income taxes under federal law. So while your high-yield savings account interest gets taxed at the federal level and your state level, Treasury bill income only gets taxed federally. In high-tax states like California or New York, that single distinction can swing the after-tax math significantly in favor of Treasuries even when the gross yield is lower. The second option is buying Treasury bills directly through treasurydirect.gov. No brokerage, no ETF, no expense ratio of any kind. You set up an account, link your bank, and purchase Treasury bills directly at government auction. When they mature, you get your principal back plus interest. The trade-off is liquidity. You are committing to a maturity window of 4 weeks to 52 weeks. If you need your money before that, it is more complicated. But if you have savings you genuinely will not touch for a few months, this is the cleanest possible version of cutting out every single middleman. The third option is a Treasury-focused money market fund offered through brokerages like Fidelity, Schwab, or Vanguard. These provide daily liquidity, competitive yields, and if you specifically choose a Treasury-only fund, you get the same state tax exemption. Now let's address the 2 objections you are already forming in your head. First, FDIC insurance. Your savings account is federally insured up to $250,000. That is a real protection. But think about what you are actually comparing. Treasury bills are debt issued by the United States federal government, the same government that created and backs the FDIC. When you buy a Treasury, you are lending directly to the entity that guarantees your bank deposits in the first place. You are not taking on more risk. In some ways, you are removing a layer of intermediary risk entirely. Second, liquidity. When you sell an ETF like SGOV, there is typically a 1 to 2 business day settlement period before the cash lands in your account. That is it. For a true emergency, 1 to 2 business days is almost always workable. And the additional yield you earn every single day while you are waiting for that hypothetical emergency is real money compounding in your favor. So here is the practical framework. Keep your checking account exactly as it is. You need it for daily spending, bills, and regular expenses. That does not change. What changes is where your idle money sits. Your emergency fund, your short-term savings, money you are building toward a goal. That cash sitting in a savings account is the money your bank is renting from you at a discount and using to generate returns you never see. Moving that idle cash to a Treasury ETF or a direct Treasury purchase means you are no longer renting your money to a bank at below-market rates. You are lending it directly to the U.S. government and keeping the full yield yourself, minus a fraction of a percent in fees. The story here is not complicated once you see it clearly. Banks take your deposits, pay you a small fraction, and earn multiples of that on the spread. High-yield savings accounts share more of that spread with you, which is better. But the smartest question is not, which bank will give me the best rate? The smartest question is, why do I need a bank as a middleman at all? For your emergency fund and short-term savings, you genuinely might not. The tools exist. They are accessible through accounts you probably already have. And the difference over years of compounding is not trivial. It is the kind of number that quietly changes your financial life. Subscribe and hit the notification bell because the next video covers something just as important that most people are getting completely wrong.